to pause for a second, because whatever you keep telling yourself about why you're not moving forward, it's probably not the real reason. Most people will say, I need more time. I need to get more focused. I need to figure things out. But if that were true, you would have already moved. So instead of asking yourself, what do I need to do next? I want you to ask something different. What keeps happening right before I'm supposed to take action? Because that right there is what's actually holding you back. And most people never look at that moment. They look at the result. They look at the fact that they didn't follow through. They look at the fact that they stayed stuck. But they didn't look at what was happening inside, the thoughts that were running through their head. You already know the things that you should be doing because you thought about it, you've planned it, you've even said, I'm gonna start. And then when it's actually time to move, something shifts. Not outside of you, inside. You hesitate, you slow down, you start thinking instead of doing. And you know what? It feels normal. That's why you don't question it. It sounds like, I'll do it later. Let me think about it. Maybe now isn't the right time. And because that sounds reasonable, you follow it. But here's the thing, that's the pattern. And it didn't just start yesterday. This goes back further than you really actually think. This goes back to what you were told, what you heard repeatedly, what you watched growing up, what was accepted, what got shut down, what got corrected. Think about how many times you've heard things like, don't do too much, stay in your place, be realistic, don't get ahead of yourself, just play it safe. Or even the things that sounded supportive, but actually trained you to hold back. Just be careful. You don't want to mess that up. Make sure you think about it first. You heard those things enough, you don't question them anymore. They become how you think. And once something becomes how you think, it becomes how you move. So now, let's fast forward to your life today. You have ideas, you have goals, you have things you want to do. But when it's time to actually act on them, those same messages start to pop up. Not in someone else's voice, in yours. That's why it's so easy for you to follow, because it feels like you. But it's not just you. It's what you've learned. And if you've never questioned it, you keep living from it. That's why people say they feel stuck. But you're not stuck because you don't have options. You're stuck because of what you keep doing right before you're supposed to take action. That's a completely different conversation, because now we're not talking about motivation. We're talking about patterns. And patterns don't care how motivated you are. They show up automatically, right before you move, right before you're about to speak, right before you want to try something different. That's when it hits you. And here's what most people don't realize. There's always a moment before the moment. A moment before you stop. A moment before you hesitate. A moment before you decide not to follow through. And inside that moment, there's a thought. And the thought feels normal. It doesn't feel like, hey, I'm about to keep you stuck. It feels like, this makes sense. And that's why you follow it. And every time you follow it, you reinforce the pattern. So now it's not just something you do, it's something you expect. And once you expect it, you don't even try to move past it anymore. That's where people settle. Not because they want to, but because it feels familiar. And familiar, it feels safe, even when it's keeping you stuck. And here's another layer that we need to pay attention to. You can see the potential in others all day. You can look at someone and say, you should go for that. You are so capable. You can do more. But when it comes to you, you hesitate. And it's not because you believe in them more. It's because the pattern shows up for you. And it shows up in the exact moment you're about to do something different. That's why you feel like you're going in circles, because you are. It's the same pattern in a different situation. And until you interrupt it, nothing is actually going to change. You'll keep repeating it in different forms. So the real question isn't what's holding me back. The real question is, what do I keep doing right before I stop myself? Because that answer will tell you everything. And here's where it shifts. The moment you start noticing it, you start catching it, you start seeing it. Wait, I've done that before. This is the exact moment I usually stop. And that awareness, that's your power. Because now it's not automatic anymore. You have a choice. You can still follow the pattern, or you can interrupt it. And the interruption doesn't have to be big. It can be small. It can be doing the thing anyway. Speaking when you would have stayed quiet. Moving when you would have normally waited. That's how patterns break. Not by forcing it to be perfect, but by choosing differently in the exact moment you normally don't. So instead of asking yourself, what is wrong with me? Ask yourself, what have I been taught that I'm still living from? Because a lot of what you think is you is something you learned. And if you learned it, trust me and believe me when I say this, you can unlearn it. Because you have to see it first, and then that's where it will work. That's where you start to shift. That's how you become the person that you truly want to be, and how you stop repeating the same cycle. We are taught to pause. We are taught to second guess ourselves. And here's the thing, people didn't outright teach us these things because it's the limiting beliefs that they had. It's what they were taught. So it's the revolving cycle of destruction that we keep passing on from generation to generation. We have the power to shift anything. We have the power to unlearn anything. The real question is, are you ready to break the pattern?